Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn cytology. Today, diffusion through membrane channels, and after we've done that, we're going to do wrist training. And if you participate in the wrist training, when I said down this, and this is no substitute for medical knowledge or anything, I'm just trying to read and understand it. Diffusion through membrane channels. Most membrane channels are ion channels. Most of them are ion channels. They allow passage of small inorganic ions, which are too hydrophilic to penetrate the nonpolar interior of a plasma membrane. What is with the ones who are hydrophilic enough? Are we also coming from? Now, they're inorganic ions. I don't know what it means, but they said at one point organic thing somewhere. Does it mean it is just an ion without anything living in it? Okay, there are ion channels in the membrane of cells, and they are letting through these inorganic ions, sorts of ions, and they are specifically there for the ones which are too hydrophilic for them to coming through the nonpolar interior of the plasma membrane. I guess because the plasma membrane on the inside is hydrophobic, and they are hydrophilic and they can't go through. They are probably also polar. And polar and hydrophilic, they can't pass through the nonpolar hydrophobic center of the membrane, but through the ion channels. Each ion can diffuse across the membrane only at sites containing channels that allow that specific ion to pass. So only if there is an ion channel specifically for that type of ion, then it can go through. In typical plasma membranes, the most numerous ion channels are selected for potassium ions or chloride ions. So there are mostly two types, for potassium ions and for chloride ions. So Cl- is just chloride, it's just Cl chloride, because C would be carbon, that's why Cl. Okay. Fewer channels are available for sodium ions or calcium ions. So most are for potassium and chloride ions, but there are also some, even though in a lesser sum, sodium and calcium ion channels. Diffusion of solutes through channels generally is slower than diffusion through the lipid bilayer because a smaller portion of the membrane's total surface area is occupied by channels. It is slower because there are only at some places the entry points for them to go through. If it could go just through the plasma membrane, we could go everywhere. Still, diffusion through channels is a very fast process. More than 1 million potassium ions can flow through a potassium plus channels in 1 second. We're saying through one. Through a potassium plus channel. What are they making with all of them? What could a cell do with 1 million potassium? How fast is this all working? It makes a little bit sense if one thinks how big a human body is and how fast a human body or also an animal body can move. There has to happen something pretty extremely for little cells to make big movement. But okay, 1 million can go through a single of them into a single cell. Although many ion channels, what can differentiate the speed? What we said so far is that it has to do with how many potassium would be there, that it can go more through. But what would have an influence on whether going 200,000 or 600,000 or 1.2 million per second through? Is there a difference in the speed which we can let it through in different people with different ages? Although many ion channels are open at all the time, others may be gated. Okay, some are always open and for potassium can go all this through. Other ones are gated and only after they've shown their passport or something they can go through. A portion of a channel protein acts as a gate, changing shape in one way to open the pore and another way to close it. Okay, there's a gate that opens and it closes. How is such a gate work? Some gates randomly alternate between the open and closed position, whereas others are regulated by chemical and electrical changes inside and outside the cell. Some are doing that just randomly, Others are changed through an electrical change or a chemical change in or outside the cell. So to make a chemical change with letting more potassium in or other ion channels, there has to happen a chemical change to let them in. At some ion channels. When the gates are open, ions diffuse into or out of a cell down the electrochemical gradient. So depending from plus to negatives, going there from negative to plus, or where more are to areas where less are. Yes. The plasma membrane of different types of cells may have fewer or more ion channels, or of different types of cells. Okay, so not the same type of cell, but different types, and must display different permeabilities to various ions. So some type of cells have more. Was it just more? Just fewer or more? Do they have also different kinds? Would be interesting if they had evolved different types of potassium, of ion channels in general, at different organs at the same time. Okay, other cells maybe have more or less of them, and they are letting them more through something, giving them a different permeability to various ions. The total number of channels that exist for a specific solute also may be regulated by signals from inside or outside the cell. So also the amount of ion channels can be changed. Makes a bit sense. Whatever the channel is something somewhere produced or somewhere existing. Whatever. If you were here for cytology, you could go directly to the next part of cytology, where we gonna read on. If you stay here and participate in the Wristtraining, wenn es mit dir auch ist. Go and sit, stand, arms up, form to fists, and bring them down and up. Hands like that. And in out. Hands like that, and again in and out. We are having 3 rules. Hands like that and out because the first rule is that we're stopping immediately as soon as there's pain. Hands out and down and up. The second rule is that we're going only as far as we can go with a little bit of effort. And now hands like that. Strong fists and in. Up. Out. And the third rule is that we're not overdoing it. We just want to strengthen, not to exhaust. You can take a break whenever you want. And now one arm up, hand down into flexion, press from the inside. And from the outside. From the top. And from the top. Other side. Strong fist, down, press. And again. Have always a good and stable stand. And now both arms up. Strong fists down and arm down. And again up. Turn around. Strong fists in flexion. Extend your arm. And again. Around. One more time. And up again. And now make strong fists and release. And again, strong fists. Release. Now press with the fingertips of one hand on top of the fingernails of the other hand. And open against that resistance and close again against that resistance. And now the other way around. And now with this like that, open and flare the fingers and close again. And now try to flex the biceps. Extend the arm, hand into extension of the flat fingers and press against the back of the fingers. Now hand, try to flex the biceps, extend the arm, hand into extension, press against the back of the flat fingers. And strong arms up with strong fists in flexion, out extension, flat fingers. In strong fists flexion, out extension, flat fingers. One more round. And in. And now one hand up, both hands up, and bend them at the knuckles. Up again. And bend again at the knuckles. Up again. One more time. Open. And no, both hands to the side. You can take a break if you want. Down with flat fingers, up with strong fists. Down with flat fingers, up with strong fists. And now both hands up, claw them and flare the fingers apart. Open, claw, and try to make space between the fingers. Open, last time claw, and make space between the fingers. Open. One hand up, bend it at the knuckles and press onto all 4 fingers. Okay. Other hand, bend it at the knuckles and press onto all 4 fingers. And up. And now you can use a sock, have it longer with the outside wrist into flexion, let it fall down, try to catch it again. And on the other side. And now I think the last exercise, shoulders back, tall up, and long arms with strong fists, and bring them into flexion. Fists, strong fists, and now extension, flat fingers. Strong fists, flexion, out extension, flat fingers. In strong fists, flexion, last time out extension, flat fingers. And again. And now go with moderate pressure over the middle part of the lower arm. And also on the other side. And that was the wrist training. I thank you very much and until next time.